I would dismiss myself from wherever I was at, go up to the person and be like, I am so sorry if this is like intrusive, but I'm pretty nosy and I just overheard you saying this thing and I have to know more. Like, I am so intrigued. Tell me about.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Creator Podcast. We're so excited you are back with us. If this is your first time, welcome. We are here today with Kelci, who runs Boise Breakfast Club, as well as We Are Sheroes agency. She is amazing. Cannot wait for you guys to hear from her today. We're talking about how to build community in person, specifically local to you. So we're going to have a ton that we're going to talk about. And as you will quickly tell, she is queen of community. I'm going to let her talk about this part. But Kelci, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love the chance to get to hang out with you too. And I can't wait to be here for all the things.
Same. So, can you give a little intro more than I did? Who
Yes.
you are, what you do, anything you would like to share on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my business back in 2018 and I built a multi six-figure social media marketing agency and consultancy. And at the end of 2022, we had like almost 20 social media management clients. And as you can imagine, that was when social media was getting much more complex. There was reels, there was carousels, there was so many different moving parts. And so my job turned into more of like project manager and herding cats for like to gather all the content pieces and things that we needed. And it was just absolutely exhausting. And so when I look back at that year, the thing that brought me the most joy and the thing that really lit a fire under my butt, for lack of a better term, was being in person and connecting with people and teaching them what I knew about marketing or business building, whatever they wanted me to talk about. And so I was really burnt out and I just said, heck with it. I am going to go and build this community that had been something that on my heart that I had wanted to do. And I was terrified because I didn't really know anybody. I was new to the Boise area. And so I just decided to go for it and wing it, FAFO. And I launched my first event and it sold out, and the rest is history.
It's amazing to see where you are now because so many people don't know everything that led to now. And to just give context for anyone listening, Kelci runs Boise Breakfast Club, which you're up to how many members now? In the triple digits, I think.
Yeah, we have like over 700 people here locally that are a part of our community.
Yeah, like that is an insane number, something to be so proud of. And the only way you get to that number is if you are doing something right. And like the way that you approach community is so pure. And so I'm curious if you go back to the origin story of like when it all began, can you speak a little bit to why you started Boise Breakfast Club and the phases that it went through to get you to what we see now?
Yeah, such a good question. So I had been a part of, before I moved to Boise, I had been a part of a community in Washington State where I lived, and it inspired me to get in community, and it showed me the value of having an in-person network. And so that was kind of the very first thing that sparked for me. Then, when I moved to Boise and I didn't know anybody, I was getting my master's degree. I didn't really have time to do anything um, in terms of building a community outside of just supporting my clients with my social media agency. And so I kind of put off this idea for several years, but I rebranded my business to She Rose, which really ultimately is empowering women. I want every woman who comes into my ozone to be supported, to be uplifted, to learn and be able to go out there and live whatever her dream life is. And so that was really the purpose. And I didn't know how it was going to all unfold and unravel itself. But going to networking events here in Boise when I wasn't, had the capacity to host my own, I just noticed a gap and noticed that we needed something that provided value first and foremost. These networking events were foofy, and I went and I left and I was like, I just wasted 2 hours of my day.
Mhm.
And so not to say anything badly about the hosts or anything like that, but I was craving more depth and relationships that actually went somewhere after I left the event.
Yeah.
And so with our concept and with the Breakfast Club, I had sat on it for so long that the name came to me, probably on a walk or something. And downloads just kept coming.
Yeah.
And so once I was ready to like press go and let it all happen, I had kind of all of the bits and pieces that I needed in order to really just like run forward with my hair on fire.
Yeah, I can only imagine how like it feels like this fire hose of sorts.
Yes.
You're like, okay, it's all just connecting. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I know we wanted to structure much of this conversation around really that phase where it was like, I want community, I don't know where to find it, and I'm not ready to start my own yet. And that's what we're going to get. But just for the one person that's listening to this that might be ready to start their own community, if you had to look back to that 2022 when you were starting your first meetup, what advice do you wish you could give yourself?
Mm. I would say that you don't need to be so concerned with the numbers and the number of people, number of butts that you have in seats. The most important thing when you're starting a community is to truly just make an impact on the people that are there, because the word of mouth with in-person type stuff and just like in business in general, when you leave somebody feeling a positive way, they're going to go tell all of their friends about it. And so focus on providing a incredible experience, focus on just being present with the people that are there, and you're going to be really pleasantly surprised with the outcome that you have from that.
I think that is such good advice. Now to kind of switch to the other side of things,
Mhm.
because a lot of our community has been voicing this question lately. I either moved to a new area and I know absolutely nobody, or I am just now at a point where I'm ready to make local connections and I have no idea where to start.
I think the third one that I will also add is I built a corporate network where I live, and then I started my own business, and
Yes.
they don't get it.
Yes. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this because there's a lot of directions we could go, but I think the place I want to start is just where do you recommend that they start?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It can be really hard to find the right places and the right communities to dive into. And so I would recommend searching, like literally just Googling whatever type of community it is that you're looking for. If it's obviously an entrepreneurial community, if you want it for females, if you want it for males, if you want it for both, you can leave it more general, but search Google, search TikTok, search Instagram, use hashtags, and just try to get plugged into the local entrepreneurial community and see like what's happening, because I guarantee you the people who are hosting these communities are definitely posting about it. And so just try to find something like events that are happening. And then, second, you're probably going to go to some events and be left with disappointment or like, ugh, why did I go? And it didn't jive with you. And that is okay. Just like in sales, where it's like every no is one step closer to your yes,
Yes.
every horrible networking experience is one step closer to finding the community that you are meant to be a part of. And so, like, set a goal. How many events do you want to go to in a month? And how much do you want to put yourself out there? If it's top priority for you to build in-person community, then, you need to let your calendar and your schedule reflect that.
I think it's interesting that for you as a community leader, like, you think community directly, but how do you think about the balance of like trying to pursue like a one-on-one, like a coffee chat with people locally versus prioritizing community type spaces where it's a power and numbers game?
Okay, this is interesting because even in big rooms that have a lot of people, I don't recommend like trying to meet everybody. I recommend trying to meet a couple of people every single time, because when you have volume, you're going to lose track of people and you're not going to be able to create depth of relationships with those people. And so I highly recommend, if you're going to go into these communities and these larger spaces, to focus on going deep, finding a couple of people that you're like, that girl or that guy or whoever, that person looks really cool and I want to know them. Or you overhear them talking about like something cool that they're doing, and you're like, oh my God, I need to get to know that person. Those kind of experiences, like, find the people that you want to like become friends with and go after them only, and then build depth after the event and after you leave the doors. For coffee dates and things like that, love. For me, that takes a lot of time. And so I am like, come find me at the Breakfast Club. But when you're getting started and when you want to build community, I think having coffee chats and just like connection time with people that are, in the area is a great idea. And just setting the precedent, you're not like trying to pick their brain on whatever it is that they know, that you're really just trying to build community and find business friends, like-minded friends.
Yeah. That part can be like so tough to kind of step out of our comfort zones, because I think there's such a mentality that it's hard to unlearn. Like, it's gotten baked in where, if I'm going to reach out to someone, they think that I expect something of them or vice versa. And so there has to be this like equal trade of sorts. And so just giving yourself permission, to your point, that like a business friend is enough of a reason to reach out to someone. Like, they probably want that too. And so
Yes,
that is a good thing. And that's okay. I'm thinking of all the introverts who may be listening, and may not be sure how to start those connection points. I'm curious if you have any other advice for them in particular, because it can feel hard to step out of your comfort zone and go to an event, especially if it's by yourself, or even, set up that coffee date, whatever it is. And it's a one thing to get there. Once you're there, then what, right? So
yeah.
do you have any advice on icebreakers or ways to start the conversation that are a great way to get your toes in the water without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, I get it, because sometimes, as like extroverted as I may seem, I host a community and bring people together. When I go to other events, I'm like, these like aren't the people that I'm used to seeing. And so what do? I have like a bank of questions in my head that are not like, hey, what do you do for a living? Because that's just boring. I like to ask questions like, what's something that you're working on that's really exciting right now? Or hobbies, or, just like quirky questions that you can pull out of your back pocket that aren't typical, and aren't necessarily about business. Because I believe that when you get to know the human on the other side, like behind the business, your relationship with that person's going to go that much further. And so find questions that like create personal connection. And that way it feels a lot less like pressure too. If you are introverted, and if like going and showing up to a community, like a larger event is intimidating to you, perhaps start by looking at the people that are engaging on that page's like comments, likes, that are reposting and are in the stories, and maybe just start by going out to coffee with those people, and getting to know them, getting to know, you can like learn about that community or those events just by being with somebody that goes to those events. And then you can kind of do your own personal research and see if you want to go. I'm sure that there are people who have done that about the Breakfast Club, because we've had so many people come and be like, I have been watching you guys on social media for months and I have been terrified to show up, but because we can see the vibes and because like of what you guys are all about, I knew that it would be okay. So yeah, I would just have like your emergency, what do you call that? Your, what do you call that? First aid kit. Oh my God. Yeah. Have like a networking first aid kit that you can whip out and be like, oh my goodness, I have questions. I have like icebreakers. I know what I'm going to do in these situations. Like maybe like plan that all out in your head if you're an introvert, so you know what to do when you're walking in.
I love that. One thing I would add to the network first aid kit, which love that term so much. If you're not using it already, like do it. That's gold. When I attended Craft and Commerce last year, something I was very intentional in doing was I brought different things that would be conversation starters. So for instance, I have a tote bag that says books are my happy place. It's an Emily Henry tote bag. I definitely had people walk up to me on the street and say, I love your tote bag. I'm a bookworm too. And it, kicked off a conversation.
That's so good.
Or I had a bottle from IU, Indiana University. Lyndon wasn't able to go there, but that's where he studied his master's. And that's actually how Amanda and I connected, because she saw the water bottle and was like, wait a second, we used to live over there. And we got to chatting, and now we just like hit it off so well. So that's one thing I would add. But I love that term so much. Networking first aid kit. That is brilliant.
Yes.
I think possibly my addition to the first aid kit is like one of my favorite frameworks is people talk about facts, people connect over feelings.
Yeah.
And so like if you can modify your question to ask about an emotion. So instead of asking like, what do you do for work? What's your favorite part of your work? And so now you're tapping into like, how are they experiencing what they're doing? Not just like, oh, I'm a copywriter. And that's where the conversation ends. And it could be like something way deeper. And now you're talking about like, how are you showing up in the world and what your experience is, which makes it a lot easier to form connections instead of just a transaction of facts.
Exactly. That's really good. I love tapping into the emotion.
Yes. Yeah,
that's so
being on
good.
it. I feel like that's where you connect with people the most. Like when you're able to connect on the emotions, you get to go deeper, and it's just way more rooted.
So
100%.
I actually want to double click now that we've built this first aid kit. You made a comment on the last question of like, you're at an event, you're walking around, you hear someone say something and you're like, I want to know more about that. How do you close the gap from I'm standing over here, not talking to anyone in a corner at a table with my plate of cheese squares to in a conversation with the person that you actually want to be talking to? Because that is a massive chasm for a lot of people.
I would literally, this is what I would do. I would dismiss myself from whoever, whatever, wherever I was at, and go up to the person and be like, I am so sorry if this is like intrusive, but I'm pretty nosy and I just overheard you saying this thing and I have to know more. Like, I am so intrigued. Tell me about XYZ. I'm nosy like that.
I love it. I think that's great, because something that we've been talking about lately is you don't need to hide your excitement around different things. Like that applies to sales, to making friends, just across the board. I think oftentimes we feel like we have to mask it because, what if we come across a little too much like a fan or whatever? But I love it when people are excited to talk to me and actually ask me questions and have a conversation. I feel like it's so different of an energy than, trying to kind of beat around the bush and like, I hope this is okay to ask. No, just ask me, like
Mhm.
I can, say I don't feel like answering that if I really don't, but I love that approach.
I think also for the shy people in the back, like the default state of people at a networking event is they're there to meet people.
Right.
Mhm.
And they're not going to be upset if you are giving them a reason to meet people.
100%. Yeah. To Joe, you're talking about like genuine excitement. I remember my first time attending Craft and Commerce, Jay Papasan, who wrote The One Thing. He's always there. And he was sitting like literally right next to me. And I freaking love that book. And I was starstruck and I was like, Jay, oh my gosh, I love your book. It literally changed my life. And when you said that, when you are multitasking, you're not doing anything well. I was like, had a light bulb moment and whatever. And I just like gave him the biggest compliment. And then after that, I got on a Zoom call with his wife. Like, just like crazy things happen when you
I
just put
love
yourself
that.
out there.
Yes.
And so I get it if you're, introverted, but truly when people are in these environments, they're wanting to connect and they are probably having the same exact internal dialogue like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, I'm scared to go up to whoever. So if you find somebody that's like standing by themselves, go up to them.
Yes. Hard agree. That's so good. Now, if I think about like moving that same approach into an online capacity, how would you recommend people going about initiating those conversations with people that they've been loosely connected with on socials for oftentimes years, but never had an actual call or met up face to face with? How can they reach out to those people without sounding like a cold pitch?
Yeah. Oh, this is hard because I feel like so many, I just feel like how the internet has kind of the steps that it has taken and the things that people have done. And so we all just kind of have a little bit of a sour taste in our mouth about cold reach outs. And so the first few steps that I would take is just engaging. Like, if you haven't been engaging with these people that you want to be in connection with, just start engaging with them and supporting them. Asking these questions that we've been kind of talking about on the episode so far, asking those questions to them and just start stirring up natural conversation and see if it's reciprocated, right? Because it has to go both ways in order for them to probably want to get on a call with you. So see how that initial, steps go. Then if you're like, okay, this person is reciprocating, if we're having like meaningful conversation in the DMs, then I feel like it would be well received if you decided to just be like, hey, I really enjoyed our conversations. I've been watching you, from afar for XYZ time. And I would just love to get on a call and connect with you further and, see if there's any sort of mutual connections, if I can help you in any way, whatever. Lead with that. See how you can, if there's anything that you can do to provide value, people that you can connect them with to within your own network and see where it goes. And again, one no is closer to your next yes. And so if they say no, I don't think it's the end of the world because there are tons of other people out there that would happily get on a call with you.
So true. Very
Mhm.
true.
A little while back, you said coffee chats is not something that you're doing very much right now because it takes a lot of time. How do you think about the commitment to being in multiple communities or doing multiple things versus how do you measure if that's a good investment of your time?
There's like so many different ROI components about building your network. I am a firm believer that relationships are the foundation of your business. And so whether you go to a coffee date or whether you attend a networking event and you feel like it was not a good use of your time, at least you probably met a few people, and you never know when you might need a exterminator or someone to do SEO on your website or whatever, like random people that you meet. You never know when you might need them down the road. And you never know when you are networking with somebody that you really like. And they're like, oh, I have been looking for this person. And a year prior, you met whoever, and you can now make that connection. And the person that you're like fangirling over now sees you as really, really helpful and valuable within their community. So I take a very broad approach to ROI on networking because you just never know what's going to happen. I go into these situations with very open expectations and just see how it's going to unfold. Obviously, I go with the intention to meet people, have meaningful conversations with other people, and maybe there's something within my business that I'm like, I am looking to solve this problem or find this person to help me solve this problem. And so that way, when you're talking to people, you can kind of share that information and see if they know anybody that they can connect you with. So the ROI, getting to like the meat and potatoes, are you growing your network with like valuable people that you want to be around? Are you getting clients? Because at the end of the day, that is something that, we're wanting to do. We're putting ourselves out there. I think it even translates into like engagement online. More people are, fans of you because you're meeting them in real life. They're probably going to be supporting you on social media as well. I think those are probably my main things. Like, are you building your community with really cool people, ROI financially, and then engagement, visibility, growth.
Those are good. Really good.
I think as we kind of like spin this into like putting a bow on this, if someone is listening to this, they don't necessarily know how to put all of this into a sequential plan for them. If we make this kind of a step-by-step, when I started in corporate, they gave me a first 100 days plan of like, you're onboarding onto something new. We want to give you the highest chance of success. So here's the milestones we expect you to hit. These are the metrics we're going to be tracking. And if you take these actions, it will give you the best chance of success at this new thing that you're onboarding into. If you were to think about a similar first 100 days plan for someone building their own local community, what milestones, metrics, and actions would you recommend for them?
Okay, I love this question. And I'm so excited. I feel like it definitely brings everything that we've talked about already kind of just into a very specific action plan. So, the first thing that I would say is you need to do research on the rooms that are available to you and figure out what type of communities you can get involved with. Milestone number 2 is to become a familiar face within those rooms and start building relationships. It's not enough to just go one time and think you're going to meet like mind-blowing people. You have to show up consistently to foster those relationships over a period of time. And then milestone number 3 is going deep with those people. Outside of the rooms, you're now inviting those people that you've been starting to kindle a friendship with or a relationship with. You're inviting them to go to lunch or to coffee or have a Zoom chat or building that network.
You just laid out 4 milestones. What metrics would you track along the way to getting to those milestones?
So I would set up how much time, what is your bandwidth? Like how much of a priority is this for you? And that way you can allot time within your calendar, if you're a fan of time blocking, to finding the room, to going to the events, to building the relationships within the room and offline once you go home. Secondly, how many coffee meetings are you going to set for yourself? I think one a week. If I was like really gung ho on building my relationships and building my community, having at least one per week is pretty low lift and low hanging fruit to go out to a coffee or a lunch. And then the next thing is to set time aside within that calendar block that you have to network online and in a digital format. So I would curate a list of these people that you've been building relationships with in person so that you can then go home and make sure that you're loving on them online, because that's the going deep part. We're really building that connection and we're taking it out of the rooms or the communities or the coffee dates, and we're taking it and building that relationship.
I love that, especially like the last step. Like, don't skip that last step of continuing the conversation and just deepening that relationship.
Yeah.
So good.
For milestone number 2 for you, it was be a familiar face. How do you think about like the value component of being a familiar face? Like, should you be contributing to the rooms you're in? Do you bring your expertise to that room, or is it just enough to be in the room and be in conversations?
Great follow-up question. Okay, so when you first start showing up to the rooms, I feel like you want to get a lay of the land. So it's okay if you don't put yourself out there immediately. You want to kind of get comfortable and feel safe and know that it's a safe place for you. And so I would say after you've gone to the event once or twice, or you've shown up with somebody a couple times, then it's time to start putting yourself out there so that people start to know who you are. In like if you're raising your hand or contributing or things like that. When you are one-to-one or like in a small group within the room, I definitely say that if it's your first time, you can still provide value within those kind of conversations, because they're within a small group format, and you want to make yourself known and show the value that you have to offer.
For sure. I think that's such a great confidence piece too, and that like you do have things to offer, and so don't shy away from using your voice and bringing those connections and asking those curiosity questions. Like there is so much power to those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That was fantastic. We're going to move into lightning round now. So to wrap us out, we have a couple of quick rapid fire questions. Starting with, what is a routine that you cannot live without?
Reading before bed.
Ooh. Okay, follow-up question. What are you currently reading?
Well, with the Sarah J. Maas announcement, I am going to start diving into her other series. And so I just picked up The Assassin's Blade from Throne of Glass. Although I was before reading that, and I'm like halfway through a Elsie Silver.
Oh, Elsie Silver.
Her last name is that. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's like cowboys and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. I have not gotten into the Sarah J. Maas world. I am frankly terrified.
What? Why? Because of the book
because
size?
Once I commit, I am committed, and I just don't know if I'm
so
ready.
Oh my gosh, they're so good.
I'm genuinely curious about watching that interview. I think it would be so fascinating to just hear more of what she had to say on Alex Cooper's podcast. So yeah, I applaud you.
I've only read ACOTAR, so yeah.
I don't know if this is the same answer or different, but what's something that's bringing you joy right now?
The idea of scaling the Breakfast Club to all over the country and world.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, do you want to give the plug for it now, or?
Yeah, I'll share. So we have we're bringing the Breakfast Club online, and then we'll host similar events to what we do in person here in Boise, because the biggest question that I get from people who follow me on the internet is like, I want access to the Breakfast Club. And so we're going to bring it online, and we'll have like education and networking, and then a mastermind component. Based on the concentration of people who are joining the digital, we will host pop-up breakfasts in those cities to start showing proof of concept and showing what the IRL experience is going to be like. And then if anybody comes along the way who wants to host a breakfast club in their city, as you know, obviously we get more and more awareness of it, then we will have that conversation and see if it's a good fit for you to be a host.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I cannot wait to just see the continued evolution of Boise Breakfast Club. I mean,
Thank you.
It's so fun to watch. Anyway, moving on.
Thank you.
The next rapid fire question is, who are you learning from right now?
Talking more.
Okay. Do they have, what are you learning about from them? Give us the scoop. The scoop.
The Scoopy spiel. Yeah. Okay. I will. So I am learning tons of stuff. So he has a coaching program. He teaches coaches specifically how to scale to $1 million and has tons of different resources. I personally love watching him facilitate. It's incredible. I've been a part of a lot of different things before, and he does it like nobody I've ever seen. It's very engaging. It's very like you pay attention when he's talking. He has all sorts of really cool things that are happening on his Zooms. Like it's very, he uses OBS, which is like the software to have like his slideshow. He's on, it's just like, it's like a freaking presentation. It's like going to the movie theater. So yeah, he is really freaking good. And I just love learning how I can be a better facilitator by just watching him.
I love that. We all need those kind of people in our lives.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's so fun.
I also just have to appreciate that you were taking away something that is not what his expertise is. Like he's teaching coaches and you're like, I like how he's presenting. Because that's totally something that I would do. Of like, I'm sitting taking notes about something completely different than what we signed up for. And I'm like, this is the coolest thing. But no one else is paying attention over here.
Yeah. Paying thousands of dollars to learn how he like does his on-screen presentations.
Hey, honestly, it's probably worth it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
As we kind of round out lightning round questions here, do you have any questions for us?
Oh, what's something that you guys are excited about working on right now?
Honestly, for me, it is our own membership, the break room. We're constantly talking about it and just like how we can improve it, how we can grow it, how we can just like protect the culture, and just it's a lot of fun and bringing me a lot of life. So that is probably the most top of mind thing that I am personally excited about right now. I don't know if your answer is different.
I think the answer is yes, and I think I'm enjoying thinking about the ecosystem of how things play together, because like we're in the process of doing a lot of things. Like a podcast lives over here, like a membership lives over there, coaching lives somewhere else, and we're starting to dovetail them together. Of like how does it logically fit together? Like what's the flywheel in the middle? What is the upsells, downsells, and across? And I think the big picture business brain is really interesting to me, just because it's new, and I like new. I like building, and it's a really exciting phase.
I totally can relate on that front, like fitting everything together in a way that makes sense. What are you guys learning about in your membership? Like what have been your biggest lessons as you also host community for the people in the break?
Where do we even start? I think the one that we were talking about earlier is just that we need to systemize a little better right now. And so how can we make these like very small tweaks so that new members joining have a proper onboarding system and they know what to expect? Or how do we put little things in place so that reminder emails are automatically sent out and those kinds of things, so things are just streamlined, everyone has a good experience. There's a lot that we're constantly learning.
I think probably for me, like the most interesting one is the like why they buy question, because it's interesting. Like we just had a podcast go up on our podcast, an interview with Becky Pearson Davison, like around like service memberships, and like she thinks about memberships a lot. Like that conversation, like she takes a hard line. If people don't buy community, people buy outcomes. That community then is the retention. And it's interesting like seeing that play out for ourselves as well, of like if it was just community and nothing else, it's actually really hard to sell. And so you have to start thinking about like some of those other things as well, which is interesting, learning and playing that puzzle.
Yeah. Okay, one more.
Okay.
Those are both really good, but I have one more.
Okay.
What is something that you guys are personally working on developing like within yourself?
Ooh, on like an individual basis.
Uh-huh.
I am really focusing on my physical workouts right now. I have a big goal. I would like to participate in a high rocks this year. I would particularly like to do doubles. And so I am currently going through Peloton's 12-week training program because we have the subscription and I might as well use it. And so that is something I am just actively working on. I'm not posting about it because I want it to be for myself. And then kind of, I mean, anyone listening here now knows, but it's if you know situation now. I really want it to be for myself. And I kind of want to just like show up on socials one day and all of a sudden people be like, when did you get so toned? What happened?
Yes.
You know? So that's what I'm personally working on.
Oh, I love it.
Ironically, it might be similar because she keeps telling people she wants to do doubles, and I have not actually committed to this yet.
I'm doing it with somebody.
And
Lyndon or someone else.
I don't know. I think for me, it is like physical fitness is a big one for me, just because like I'm in that phase in life. Also, like so last backstory, last year I climbed Kilimanjaro. And like I spent most of the first half of the year like training for it, and just like the mental lock-in of that was such an interesting process for me because I knew that there was like one big goal that I was working towards. And honestly, my fitness has not been the same since I came back. And so like I'm trying to get back to like what is that like consistency, because I don't have like this one big like sink or swim moment yet. It might be high rocks.
Okay, I want to hear your answer to that question now because that's super interesting. What is something that you're personally working on?
I am personally working on fitness, definitely, but I think like on a more internal level, it's trusting in what's ahead of me and what's already like happening for me, because last year I decided to cut our agency roster very, very significantly. I only have clients that are relatively low lift on my plate now so that I have capacity for the Breakfast Club and the expansion of that. And so that's obviously a terrifying move to make. And yeah, so I'm just trusting the process because I know that I'm moving in this direction for a reason. And so I'm just letting it all unfold.
It's amazing. I love it. I can see the shift too, just to put it out there. Like, I know it's really hard when you are in the thick of it and making those moves because you're in the weeds. Like, you can only see so much. You're basically like shining the flashlight 2 feet in front of you and just walking in faith, right? But as someone who is on the outside looking in, it shows. Like, I can see the shift in the way that you've been showing up and really owning your role as a community leader. And it's been really beautiful to watch.
Thank you, Joe. That means a lot.
So I have to ask a nerdy follow-up.
Yeah.
Do you ever play the game, like sit and look backwards and try and connect the dots of how you got somewhere?
Ooh.
Because like looking forwards, it makes no sense. But then you get somewhere much later and it's like, wow, these random things that didn't connect whatsoever, they now all coalesce into like, I'm perfectly talented to do this one thing.
Yeah, I have been doing that recently, actually, because I have been trying to, for a long time, I was like, how does all of these things work together? And now that like I said, I cut my agency roster, so I have more time and space to be thinking about these things. And yeah, they're literally all fitting together perfectly. And I just shared at our summit on Saturday, I was like, it's crazy the amount of clarity that is coming now that I've given myself the time and the space to start really envisioning and piecing all of the bits together. So yeah, thank you for that. I have, but I didn't prioritize it for a long time. And I'm like, of course.
We can both relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just continuously am inspired by how you show up for yourself and for your community. So I am excited to see where things go from here.
Thank
And
you.
on that note, how can everyone who is listening connect with you? How can they come to a breakfast club if they're ever in the area, or if they want to come to the online version? Give us all the details on how they can connect and work with you.
So if you are wanting to find me, you can come to We Are Sheroes on Instagram. You can learn about our Boise events at the Boise Breakfast Club. You can learn about our events in the Nashville area at the Breakfast Club. And most importantly, if you are listening to this on the day that it goes live, I am hosting a free event so that you can get a taste of the Breakfast Club and see what it's all about. I am going to be talking about how to make Q2 your BITCH, and it's going to be a blast. And you'll leave with new connections. You'll leave with an action plan for the next 3 months. And so I'll send you guys a link for that.
Love it. That would be amazing. What day is the free event happening?
March 18th is when it's happening. So literally the day after.
Amazing. Awesome. We'll link all of that for you guys in the description. Thank you, Kelci. This has been fantastic. We always love chatting with you. I feel like anyone who's stuck around to the end just got like this bonus behind the scenes conversation. That was so fun. So thank you so much for just opening us up to your world and the way that you think about things and the way that you approach community. It has been really, really fun to talk to you.
I feel the exact same. I'm so excited for what you guys are doing for entrepreneurs, and I'm just grateful that you had me here.
Thanks.
And I will just kind of leave this on a request. If you've made it this far, we would love a review. They mean so much for our little baby new podcast. And as we're growing, we would love those warm thank yous.
That would be awesome. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Go connect with Kelci, and we will see you on the next time. Bye.